Yellowstone National Park emits as much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere as some erupting volcanoes, analysis from the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory has found. However, this is still not nearly as much as humans produce. Measuring the emission rates of Yellowstone is a challenge as there are no plumes of gas to examine, like there are from erupting volcanoes. The national park is also huge, with its gases spreading over an area twice the size of Rhode Island, state scientist in charge at the observatory, Michael Poland, wrote in a news report. But geologists were able to measure the emissions by focusing on the ground around the Travertine hot springs and the neutral-chloride spring areas. By doing this, they could calculate the overall carbon emissions rate of the park. They found that Yellowstone releases as much CO2 as some volcanoes that are actively erupting, such as its very own mud volcano, which is in the floor of the Yellowstone caldera. Collectively, the total emissions for Yellowstone is 24 metric tons per day. Poland told Newsweek that scientists knew Yellowstone had a high amount of CO2 from previous measurements. In the early 2000s, it was measured in a similar way, looking at the soil discharge from thermal areas. In fact, that earlier estimate was higher than the more recent estimate, Poland said. Several calculations have been done over the past 20 years, and all suggest high levels of CO2 emission. It's an example of the importance of what we call diffuse degassing. Not all volcanic CO2 is emitted during eruptions. In fact, the vast majority is emitted by non-erupting volcanoes. Of course, an awful lot is also emitted by erupting volcanoes, but just because a volcano is not erupting does not mean there is no CO2 being emitted. While this amount of CO2 may seem like a lot, it is actually only about 10% of the amount generated from New York City, the report said.